So today I've decided to go back to the basics and talk about the difference between religion and spirituality. Now, I've noticed for a lot of people, they've been intermixing the two. And for myself, I discovered about 10 years ago, there's a vast difference between the two. So much so I ended up writing a book about it. If you get a chance to pick up Transcending Fear, it's actually a great book for overcoming fear-based beliefs. And for my case, those were fear-based beliefs that I picked up as a child in my very, very fundamentalist, a polygamist religion on top of that. And I didn't know until I was in my 40s and having this, what others would call a midlife crisis, I call it my midlife rebirth, that there was a difference between religion and spirituality. And so a lot of this religious dogma from my childhood was still attempting to control me and prevent me from finding happiness as an adult. And it wasn't until I started having these insights from what in my book I call my inner counselor, now I know it's actually my higher self, that there's a huge difference between the two. And today I wanted to talk about that because I think a lot of people don't realize they're two different things, that either you have to be religious or you have to be atheist. And that's simply not the case. In the middle is spirituality. And spirituality is our own individual connection to spirit. So religion, for me, it's like a box. And in this box, there are a set of rules. And those rules tell you what you can and can't do, who you can and can't be, and how you can access God. And what a lot of people, I don't think, realize is that religion has been propagating, I guess is a good word for that, fear disguised as love. So for me, religion just didn't work for me and doesn't work for me because I will not guide my life by fear. And I think as we move into more and more of this fifth dimensional reality that we're moving into, we move more and more into heaven on earth and peace on earth and return to the garden that earth once was, and this beautiful spiritual world that we are becoming, this love-based reality that we're all creating, that more and more people will leave religion behind because they'll start to recognize how it has been used as a tool for manipulating and controlling the masses. And that just no longer works for us because a lot of us are starting to realize that we can access spirit, we can access God, and we don't have to go through religion or through religion's rules in order to make that happen. Because every single one of us have access, direct access to God, direct access to spirit, direct access to source, whatever your name is for that, whatever your name is for the infinite, all-loving, all-giving, all-knowing source of all that is. We don't have to go through religious dogma to get there. We don't have to do the mantras. We don't have to go to booths. We don't have to sign our names on the dotted line. We don't have to go through baptisms. We don't have to go through, we don't have to pay penance to get to God. And we don't have to live our lives by all of those fear-based rules that religion propagates, that religion tells us we have to follow and believe in. Because every single one of us has direct access to spirit. That's what spirituality is. So religion's all the rules. For me, it's like a delivery system. Like you can choose UPS, you can choose FedEx, you can use direct delivery. It's a box of rules. And you can choose to be a part of those box of rules. And some people love that. Some people love the community and camaraderie and like-mindedness and of being in that particular box. And then there's a whole bunch of us where boxes just don't work for us anymore. Now, for me, boxes never worked. I mean, I knew when I was a little girl that religion was not the thing for me. And then it went completely the opposite direction where I was basically an atheist because I didn't want to have anything to do with religion. And then I discovered my own connection to spirit, my own truth. And that is where spirituality is. It's where we connect deeply and richly to all that is. And God isn't out there somewhere. He's not It's not some big grumpy old man in the sky. God is love. It is the essence of love itself. And it's here inside of every single one of us. We don't have to go through anybody else to find the love that's already inside of us, to find that direct connection to source, because every one of us is a stream of consciousness of that loving. And more and more and more of us are starting to understand that it isn't either or, that we don't have to play by a specific set of rules, and we don't have to follow any one particular master, because every one of us are the embodiment of love. It's the stuff that we're actually made of. And when human beings make all of their choices based on love instead of fear, all of those rules will go by the wayside, because we won't need them anymore. When we are genuinely acting from a space of love rather than fear, we have no interest in harming ourselves or harming anybody else. And the only mistakes get made are just simple mistakes. They aren't sins, as religion calls them. That was all part of that is made to keep us under control. And when we're genuinely moving through life from a space of love and acceptance, we don't need rules to keep us under control. We don't need fear-based beliefs to keep us from discovering and knowing the true nature of who we are as love, having a human experience. So I wanted to talk about that, the difference between religion and spirituality. And yes, many people still need their religion. Many people love their hand-me-down clothing, as I often refer to it. They love their traditions and their rituals and the places where they feel like they can connect with other people. And that's great. That is great for them. And it's really important that we not judge each other based on the spiritual path that is calling to each and every one of us. There is no one right way. I hate to break it to you people, but there are nearly 8 billion people on this planet, and all of them have their own way. They all have their own unique path to follow. And it's only when some people believe that their way is the only way that we really run into trouble on this planet. Because believing my way is the only way, or this way is the only way, creates division. It creates conflict, and it keeps us in fear, and it keeps us from becoming unified under one umbrella of love. And so for me, one of the reasons that I'm not a big fan of religion is because I find that religion actually creates division rather than unity. Sure, people are unified within that one particular system of belief, but it excludes everybody else. And that does not work. Under spirituality, there is no exclusion. Under spirituality, we are all one. We're all love. We're all divine beings having a human experience. We're all aspects of source. And that it doesn't matter what another person believes, as long as their beliefs are not causing harm. There's a whole nother thing for that. If you're choosing to cause harm, then there are actions and consequences that are universal. So if you choose intentionally to cause harm to another human being, you get the consequences that come with that. As a friend of mine calls it, it's divine justice. So as long as all of us are choosing beliefs that are loving, that are supportive, that are mutually concerning other people, that are genuinely loving, that don't judge other people's beliefs, that aren't so cold in the belief that there's only one right way, when we all understand that spirituality is love, and that religion is the set of rules by which people can access that love, more and more and more of us will start to see that religion just doesn't fit anymore. And this isn't about being anti-religion, of course, because everyone is entitled to believe as they choose. It's also supporting those who no longer choose to follow a religion and instead have direct communication and access to God through their own spirit, on their own path, and however that looks like. If that involves crystals and mantras and meditations, fabulous. If that involves rosaries and beads and talking to priests, that is their choice too, because every single one of us have our own path to follow. And so this isn't about religion versus spirituality, because they aren't one against the other. What's important is that spirituality can exist perfectly well on its own without the constructs and confines of religion. So it's more of religion and spirituality rather than versus an either or. Again, we don't have to choose between religion and atheism, because what's in the middle is this beautiful space of spirit where we can all connect as one. And until next time, as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free. This is about freedom of your spirit.